Hello, I'm Jenny. I'm a creativity researcher and a coach, and this is Reclaiming Creativity, where we explore what it means to live a creative life, because life with creativity is better than life without it. Today, I thought I'd try something a little bit different, a new format where I answer the most commonly asked questions I get about my experience doing a PhD. I've written them down, so I'll go through one by one and we'll just see what comes out. So the first question is, why did you want to do a PhD? The idea of being a professor has always held an appeal for me. I think something about living a life devoted to the pursuit of truth and exploring big questions deeply and helping to support others in their pursuit of knowledge has always held a bit of a romantic appeal to me. But I'd kind of dismissed it as being too removed from reality, too much in its ivory tower. So it wasn't until I got my MBA that I saw a more applied version of academia. I saw my professors conducting research inside organizations and using those insights to help those organizations make better decisions and have the people inside those organizations essentially live better lives. That was exciting for me, and that's actually how I even discovered that organizational behavior was a discipline. I'd never even heard that that was something that you could study before. So it was in the back of my mind, and when I burnt out a bit after a few years of management consulting, I came back to the idea of, okay, maybe this is the time to go pursue a PhD. So it was really with the hope of becoming a professor that I pursued the PhD. But even separate from wanting to become a professor, having 5, now 6 years to explore my intellectual interests and really getting paid to think was a dream. Second question, did you always know you wanted to study creativity? The answer to that is no, I did not. I came into the PhD with a completely different topic in mind. Earlier in my career, I spent a couple years living in Pakistan where I was working on economic development projects. And while I was there, I saw what I was calling, for lack of a better term, professional prejudice. So the sector is structured with these nonprofit NGOs, these for-profit contractors, and then you have the government donor agencies. And there was really this cycle of mistrust and disrespect that I observed between these 3 different professional categories, and it was so counterproductive. It just caused so much unnecessary conflict. So I was kind of like, what's up with that? And that's actually the topic that I brought into the PhD, thinking that's what I want to study. But when I started to orient myself to the research literature, the existing literature, I couldn't quite find a way in. I couldn't quite find a hook. So in my second year, we hired a new professor and he studied creativity. And I was like, wow, you can study creativity? That sounds so cool. Once I realized that you could actually study creativity as a topic, I was hooked. That's what I wanted to focus my attention on. So the next question is, what is your dissertation about? Well, I will try my best to explain it you would think by now I would be able to explain it very clearly in a short amount of words, but that's actually harder than it sounds. Let's give it a go. The question that's at the core of my dissertation is, why is creativity so psychologically challenging? And this question was born of my own experience. I'd spent several years living quite separate from my creativity, and when I started to engage in my mid-20s in a creative writing project, I was very unprepared for how scary it was. On the one hand, there couldn't have been less at stake. You know, there's nobody waiting for me to finish this writing project. Nobody even had to read it if I didn't want to show anyone. And yet, my whole body was telling me, we're gonna die. Putting words on the blank page, it felt like we're gonna die. And so I was like, what's up with that? This is strange. This is a strange psychological phenomenon. So in order to understand these psychological barriers, I wanted to find a research context where I was looking at people who were transitioning from less creative into more creative work, because I thought that these people, their experience would give me the clearest picture on the barriers. So in my dissertation, I map out these different psychological tensions that are inherent in the creative process. And it is still a work in progress, my dissertation, but I will definitely do a video sharing the update when it is complete. So don't worry, you're not gonna have to read the whole 200 pages to get the insights. I will make a video to share them with you in 10-20 minutes. So next question, what is the best thing about being a PhD student? I would say 2 things. One, just getting paid to study is incredible. Being paid to explore my intellectual interests and have that freedom to really follow my curiosity down all the rabbit holes and see where it leads me, than to mine those rabbit holes for little gems that you can bring back and share with other people. I mean, that's really fun. The second thing though is the people. So I've gotten to meet amazing people through my PhD. Not only my fellow students, many of whom have become really good friends, but also the people who I've interviewed for my dissertation. People have been so generous sharing their stories with me, and honestly, I feel so blessed to have received these stories and to be really a steward of these stories. So that's been another thing that I really, really appreciate about the PhD. Finally, do you regret getting a PhD? Well, I would say my first answer is no, because I've really grown a lot from this experience, and with ups and downs to be sure, but overall it's been a really enriching experience. Do I have any regrets? I'd say I do kind of regret being so scattered for a lot of the period of time of the PhD. In my enthusiasm for new ideas, I ended up spreading myself too thin. That leads itself to having an energy that's quite scattered. So I guess my regret would be letting myself be too scattered for too long, and I think I should have focused sooner on what it is that I really, really wanted to study. All in all, a very enriching experience. So that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, may your creativity continue to surprise you. Bye!